Hey cats, it's Ed Flight Foam Bud here. I've been racing the past weekend in the ASICS METASPEED Sky Paris at my local hometown half marathon in Yeovil. I had a target, I was feeling good. How did I get on? How were the shoes? Let's take a look. Thanks for tuning in, people. It's always appreciated. Do hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. It really does help out. If you want to give us some support on an ad hoc basis as well, do drop us a super thanks down below in the comments. Dankeschön. So, Yeovil Half Marathon done for 2024. We did have some windy conditions on this one and about 664 participants to be exact. Temperatures were perfect really for some threshold pace running with about 8C recorded, though Strava and most of the weather sites reckon that felt a little bit more like 4C, and I think they're probably right. Some windy gusts around 16 miles per hour as we were heading west, but we did of course have that coming back with us while we were heading east. Prep was really good on this one for me. Got some reasonable sleep, although I'll talk a bit more about that later. Breakfast of Weetabix and some toast and coffee. Nothing weird or anything, just making sure I was really nicely fueled and hydrated. I did go for the Metaspeed Sky Paris from ASICS with this one. Was half considering the Alpha Fly, but when I got these on foot on the day, they just felt fantastic. About 800 feet of elevation over the distance with a couple of nasty hills just at a point when you really don't want them. I did use a bit of a pacing strategy here to make hay while the sun shines. The first 2 miles are mainly downhill in terms of elevation, so knocked out the first and second miles at 6:36, then 6:31, and around about half marathon pace for the third mile there at 6:54. Now from mile 3 through to mile 6 you've got some really steady climbing. It doesn't really feel like that because it's over such a distance, but you're constantly just going uphill all the way, and it does start to take a toll on you when you get to around about mile 6. I know this part of the course very well. I run it on a daily basis, so you have to be a little bit cautious there. There's about 130 foot of elevation between those few miles. You just need to rein things in a bit and not use up too much juice. 7:10 and then 7:01 and back to some flatter terrain at the very top of that hill, and you've done the first half of the course. It's that easy. Making it all sound very easy here. You got a couple of miles of undulating roads there that lead through to Montacute House. It's a really beautiful place. You do want to go and check it out if you're in the local area. There's a lot of local history packed into that place. Before I forget, sort of nutritional stuff, I did use a couple of gels. They're more just like sort of pure honey really. I'll put a link in the description and maybe a picture up here somewhere. Used one round about 4 miles and then I think it was about 9.5 miles. Now, after you've gone through Montacute House, you do approach a quite nasty hill. There's about 128 foot of elevation just over 1 mile. If you run trails or something, you're probably thinking, what's he talking about? It's not a hill, but I think if you're running at threshold pace across road and concrete for a while, and then you come to that around about 9 miles in, it really does take a toll on you. I powered up there about 7 minutes 28 seconds per mile, then got back to some flatter terrain for mile 11 before powering down Lark Hill around about 6 minutes 32. Not quite sure how I did that. I did know at that point I was in with a chance of a personal record on the half marathon distance, so I think I was probably part of it. Half marathon target pace for mile 13 to get back to town, and then 6 minutes 2 seconds per mile for the final stretch. Don't remember much about that bit. Coming in though with a chip time on this one of 1 hour 31:03. So ringing the bell, it's a half marathon PR for me. Absolutely over the moon with that. Previous race best was 1:31:48 in Bristol, so beat that by 45 seconds. Over the moon on that. Really tasting the nectar on the PR. To get it on this course as well, I was a bit sort of befuddled. I couldn't quite understand what had happened. It's in no way a course set out for speed and PRs. Normally it's a tough old course. You got to get the pacing just right. I think that's part of what happened today. Maybe some of that hill work that I've been doing recently is starting to pay off. I said about sleep earlier. I managed about 5 hours. I was doing a musical performance the night before. Stood up for like a good 2 hours. Didn't get to bed till about 1. When you include that into all of this, it makes it even more bonkers really. Strava has a grade adjusted pace for this performance at 6 minutes 45 seconds per mile, cadence around about 180 steps per minute across the distance, and heart rate at 155 beats per minute average. That suggests I controlled my effort really well, and that's what it felt like out on the course, rather than constantly looking at like my heart rate and things like that. I was doing it by effort. How am I feeling? How am I doing? Using the Pace Pro though on the watch really did help out too. That was like a constant update of where I was, and I did set that to kilometers this time, so I had a much more accurate interpretation of just where I was on the course and how much time I was sort of like above or below that target. Now, before you say it, some people might get really irritated by this. Why isn't there loads of race footage? I find it really distracting and off-putting when I'm running around with that GoPro. I wanted to focus on the race today, untethered with no distractions or anything like that. I got the memories right here where they need to be. I have done this course 3 times. Back in March 2019 at 1 hour 35:49. In 2022, 1 hour 33:30. So I've knocked a good couple of minutes off of that as well in terms of course record. Strava, as always, clocks the course a little bit long. I don't think anyone ever runs the absolute race line on such a distance. It has a new data record for the half marathon there, 1:30:28. So yeah, 6 minutes 54 per mile. So it's got to be the shoes, right? Well, yes and no. I think training's been unhindered this time. I haven't had any illnesses or anything like that. It's just been constant sort of progression each week. Lots of longer runs in the bag, lots of speed sessions, and of course those hill workouts too. I think it's all added up to this. So the Metaspeed Sky Paris, could I recommend it to you? Well, heartily yes. There's 4 advantages that I feel this shoe's got over some of the other models right now. I think firstly, on a course with a lot of hills here, a lot of climbing, I think the lower drop of the shoe gets me using my stride that little bit more. I was almost able to like power walk up some of those hills. It was quite strange really. Saw a few people like falling away, but managed to sort of increase the cadence. It's like this springy sensation here in the forefoot. I just think you got a little bit more foam under that plate. That just seems to work for me a huge amount. It's almost sort of bouncing up the hills really. And as such, I see certain people comparing this shoe with the Alpha Fly from Nike. I think they're right actually in some ways. It might seem a bit odd of a comparison, but here's why. Well, you've got this expanded width here in the forefoot area of the shoe. It almost acts like a spring, makes it quite similar to that Alpha Fly shoe, but perhaps in a more forgiving form. Second advantage of this shoe is the lightness. I mean, you've got 25 grams less weight here than the Vaporfly 3. Almost an ounce. Yes, it's a bit softer, similar surface area underfoot, but far less prominent in the arch. I wouldn't personally go a half size down in this shoe. I think going true to size is pretty much spot on this time. The race fits there in the upper as well. Really is like a glove. Barely even feels like there's any shoe on your foot, in fact. And I think that benefited me in the latter parts of the race where I was starting to feel a little bit fatigued. It just helped push me on to help get that new PR. Now, third point is durability. After about 40 miles of wear, I'm not seeing any of that tearing that I saw in the Metaspeed Sky Plus. There's a tiny bit of creasing back here in the heel, but the rubber is holding up superbly well, and it gave some really good traction on the pavement and the roads of the race today. Scattered potholes and pavements were no match for this one. So is that down to the foam itself? It does feel a little bit different actually to the Flight Foam Turbo that we had before, though if anything it's a little bit softer this time around. I think it could be due to the rubber placement here. ASICS have nailed it this time. Well done, guys. Now the fourth thing, I felt far less controlled by this shoe. It lets me run in a more natural way and also kind of adapt my running depending whether I'm going uphill, downhill or on a flat. I don't feel like I'm being forced to use like the rocker here of this shoe. It's not making me run in a very specific way. I think if you land more in the heel, you're presented with this really sort of bouncy, almost effortless feel, but you're not penalised if you're landing, you know, very abruptly on this forefoot section of the shoe. I think that's down to the plate position, so it just really works on all sorts of different running styles, I suppose. Definitely hill climbs feel quicker in this one, and then going downhill, I mean, you've got free pace almost really. The heel tends to sort of disappear then if you are striking a bit further back in the shoe. So all in all, a great day there. First race in these, and boy oh boy did they deliver with the sweet PR. Thanks goes to lots of people here that I met on the course. Great to see Big Al ride out doing the 1:30 pacing. He got it absolutely spot on, perfection. I saw Gunners out there. He was rocking the ASICS METASPEED Sky Plus, and he was very interested in my shoes. I think they come out this Wednesday, so be ready. Matt Sparks, the winner of his age category. Go and look up his time, you will be amazed. And of course, Kev Next Percent Burton was out there too, and he was just being himself, and that's absolutely good enough. Also need to say thanks to my mum and dad. They managed to get to 5 positions around the course to support me. Absolutely incredible. Really gave me a boost just when I needed it. Thanks guys. And last but not least, big shout out to Julian Goodship. I saw Julian a bit later in the race, and he helped me to get the Goodship EDDBUD in for the PR. Julian, you don't know how much that extra help spurred me on to get the time today. Thank you, sir. So memories to be savoured there. If I can do that on this course, what can I do on a flatter course in Bristol in May? Let me know your thoughts on the shoes down in the comments. Also on the performance today and your predictions. What can I do in Bristol in May? Comments down below. Musical interlude for you. Now, I don't know if this helped me to my new time today on the half marathon. My son's a really big fan of the Wiggles. I think if you've got kids, you probably know who the Wiggles are. They're kind of like the Beatles, I suppose, of children's TV music. My son's still really into the Christmas Wiggles right now. So round the course, you know, while I was sort of wondering, you know, how I'm going to do, trying to keep things, you know, consistent in terms of cadence and pace, I was singing such things as Hula Hula Merry Christmas, Karoo Karoo as well. All of these tracks are particularly catchy. You've only got to hear one of them once in a day, and that's it. That's all you've got in your head. I've woken up many times recently singing Go Santa Go, which is a particularly popular and catchy Wiggles track, and all of this while we're just heading up towards Easter. So we've managed to keep Christmas going for 3 months now. So if you want to keep your kids entertained, you know, get on there and listen to the Wiggles. You'll not regret it in any way. Thanks for tuning in, people, and for all your support. It is always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment too, it seems to help with the algorithm. Loads of people have been watching that most comfortable shoes video. Just goes to show that people really like comfortable shoes and not uncomfortable ones. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you